Our opening comment.
Yeah.
Live.
Welcome to the Turaco Creative Cast, where we talk art, comics, and all things creative. Because you can't spell art, you can't spell Turaco without A-R-T. I'm Fra- I'm Frank Salazar, and you can find me on YouTube. Let me get my banners here. You can find me on YouTube, on Instagram, and on BitChute. I have a BitChute now, so you can find my stuff on there. And I have a link tree that's it will just take you to all my links there. And I just finished a 10-page story for the 10-page Captain Courage story for the Holiday 9-Volt anthology, which is now available to buy from lulu.com. And you can check out the link in the description below to our link tree for 9-Volt Comics. You can uh, get all of those volumes that that we've already done. We got superheroes, we got Pulp, and now Holiday. So you can check those out. And let's see, do I have the? No, I don't think I have the link tree for that either. But it's in the description below, so you can check that out. So you can read Captain Courage in the First Christmas, and that's my story. And and my co-host Anna Raub.
Hi, I'm Anna Raub. I'm a creative creator person, and you can find me on Instagram and on YouTube, and on that Linktree thing that's probably in the description. And I'm doing college homework. That's what I'm doing behind the scenes right now, and studying and whatever. But it's art
Oh,
college
cool.
homework.
Yeah, so she's doing art stuff. And you can find our Turaco Creative Cast also on Instagram, so you can see when we're uploading next. Uh, and we're gonna start putting more stuff on there. We actually we're thinking about doing an art contest, so check that out. So when we update, you'll be able to see that. And our special guest for today is Peter Palmiotti. I'm sorry, I'm just messing up today. And our episode name is Going Retro because Peter is working on his character Retro, and also Peter is a former inker for DC and Marvel, and you might know his work as the inker for Aquaman, Hook, the Hook version of Aquaman. And Pete, tell us a little bit about yourself. And there's his Instagram.
There's a delay as well.
Yes, indeed, and thanks again. Yeah. Thank you guys for
Yeah,
having me.
yeah. And you can find Peter on Instagram and on YouTube under Peter Palmiotti, and he also has a Twitter. And there's his link tree right there. So we're just gonna get right into. Sorry, Judd Goswick just distracted me.
Yes, yes.
We can just get right into the show. So. Um, all right, Peter. So, we mentioned that you were an inker for DC, and you did some stints with Marvel. Uh, so, what was it like? Working for the big dogs, as they say.
It was great. It was probably approximately like 7 years from working on Aquaman over at DC, then working at Marvel. Marvel, I did a bunch of random stuff, but mostly I inked a lot of X-Men titles. And it was just like random pages they were throwing me. They at the time, especially in the 90s, they had, I don't know, 10 or 20 X-Men books, and they had teams of pencilers and inkers working on the books. And for whatever reason, they thought I was the overnight guy, and everything they threw me, they seemed to want the next day. So I worked on like Cable and Wolverine and Gambit and Deadpool and Uncanny X-Men and whatever else was happening at the time, and it was just nuts. Even in the bullpen, which, being a freelancer, I worked at home, but some stuff they needed right away, so they had me inking in the bullpen, which was a lot of fun. And not distracting at all. But yeah, it's really good working from all in DC for a lot of reasons. They are big companies, and you're getting paid. You get a decent page rate. Depending on the check is going to show up. Promoted, work is going to get promoted. Like the books come out shortly thereafter. There's no long delay. Like working for a lot of independent companies, I had books like, that I worked on, then wouldn't for another year or something like that. But also at the same time, it's a real machine, and you just have to bust your ass, get the work done, and then they're already throwing you pages to the next issue. Like Aquaman, which I worked on most frequently. I was pretty much working every day of the month, and then the next month I would be jumping on to the next issue. So there would sometimes not even be a break. And I usually worked 7 days a week. It's like I'm not a fast inker. And I'm really particular about everything that goes down. So, yeah, I was working around the clock a lot of times.
Oh wow, that's interesting, and as someone, and Anna can agree with me too. Like we've done our stories, we've worked on pages, and we've done our own inking. That like it takes time. So
Definitely.
yeah, so to be able to like pump it out overnight, like wow, I'm like man. That's either talent or just like a necessity, or both. Like I don't know, like that's I'm sure that's a skill that is coming handy now when you're inking, being able to just ink quickly.
I don't like to even think about it. I usually just work on something until it's done.
Oh, cool.
But I like that I was in that position at one point, and it's something I could pull out. It's like I really like to sit with pages. Like initially, like if I get a couple of pages in the mail, I really like to look them over, and it's not even I'm thinking about what I'm just getting a gist of what the style is and what's on the page, and I really like to soak it up, and then I attack it. It's sort of just my process. But it's like having worked on a lot of independent comics and worked on, comics with Marvel and DC. I've worked on a wide range of different styles, and, being an inker most of my career, I've really developed different approaches for different styles. And so I have a lot of sort of tools I can choose from for any one given project,
Oh, wow. That's really cool. That's really interesting. Let's see. Do we got anyone in the chats? We got Cyburns. He's first. Nefarious is here. Says yo. Yo. Judd, one of our regulars. Thanks for coming, Judd.
And howdy.
Howdy, howdy. Our favorite regular, Anna. And Dale. And Dale says,
welcome one and all.
Buy a mug.
Welcome.
Links below.
So we talked a little bit about your experience, but how about some of the background, like, that led up to, like, some of the core skills that allowed you to get to where you are right now?
Well, as I sort of always say, like when I first decided to take on working in comics for a living and starting as an inker, I sucked, and I knew it. But I also knew like it was something I was really passionate about. I've been reading comics all my life and really into them, and especially because of the art. I knew if I just applied myself, that I would get better over time. And it's like my mom always said, if you really want to do it, you'll put in the time and get it done and make it happen. So, I worked with other anchors, like my older brother, Jimmy, is also in the industry, and he started out as an anchor. He's just writing right now.
Cool.
But, I worked with him. I worked with other anchors. I worked up at Valiant back in the day as a background anchor. And I really worked on my skill for the first batch of years to get better. And, I took on job after job with different indie publishers just to improve my skills and to work towards the goal of actually working for Marvel and DC one day, which actually happened. So
excellent.
And Nictus says that page is looking good, Peter.
Mm-hmm.
And
thanks.
So this is something I'm sure you're familiar with the movie Chasing Amy, Peter. Do inkers get a bad rap, or was that just something that Kevin Smith added for his movie just for dramatic purposes?
It's that movie's really funny because that's Chasing Amy, which actually had a comic convention in it, if you remember. And it had a character called Ash, which was created by my brother Jimmy and Joe Quesada, but it was myself who named the character.
Yeah.
So, in a little way, I was part of that film, even though I didn't get any credit. But yeah. So in that movie, the joke is, inkers are just tracers. And yeah, I mean, back in the day, a lot of people felt that way, and probably still today. But inkers used to be called embellishers, and I think that's a better word for it. Even though I don't really necessarily like using the term, but it's what we do. It's like we take pencils, tighten them up, throw down blacks, whatever we got to do, add textures, really make it more polished and clearer in what you're looking at. And like there's plenty of just run of the mill inkers out there that don't add anything to the penciled artwork. But it's like I like to think that I'm doing something that improves the pencils. And I try to do that with every project and with every artist I work with.
Yeah, the inker adds that flavor over the pencils.
Mm-hmm.
So you mentioned I mentioned Chasing Amy. I think I remember you saying Jimmy has a little cameo in there too, right? Like he's in the back or something. Or no, I think he's actually on screen briefly.
Yeah, during the convention scene, I mean, him and Joe went there for a day and they filmed all day, but they only actually showed up, on film for a split second. So you actually have to freeze frame the movie to see them. But they were there all day filming.
Oh man.
Yeah, and Joe Quesada actually came out in another Kevin Smith film. I think it was a Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, where he played a pizza man. So he was able to actually come out as a character. Yeah, I was a big Kevin Smith fan.
Yeah,
so
I mean, Yeah, I mean, I love Kevin and his work in movies. I wish he would have done more of them, but he got into podcasting. And he's done some great interviews in his podcast, for sure.
Yeah.
But he's helped bring comics more to the average person, I think.
Oh yeah, like a lot of his movies had like comic influences, and I think a lot of his movies, or all of his movies, in the Mid-Skew universe became comics. There was a Blunt Man in Chronic graphic novel, which I had. I wasn't always a saint, so like I followed Kevin and did what he promoted, although he didn't actually promote it. And then we'll just leave it at that. But yeah,
I mean, he's also written comics.
Oh yeah, he did Daredevil for a while.
Yep.
And he had a cameo in the Daredevil movie with Ben Affleck. I'm getting a text message from someone, but not right now, guys. I'm nice.
Yep.
So right now you're working on your own character. That's and you've talked about before. You're actually I think that's a page you're working on right now, Retro.
Yep. So this is a page of Retro. I'm writing it, inking it. The penciler is a friend of mine, Rich Fuchsia. Rich decided to get into paintings, taking over the penciling with issue 2 onwards. The first issue will be colored by our friend Marshall Lee. but I'll be in some way coloring the book as well. I'm not too proficient in like the coloring tools and whatnot, but I'm always like, one of the things, being here, you kind of don't have say on the final product in a lot of projects. And I've always been very particular about the way books were colored. And so I figure if I'm going to jump in and like start penciling the book, I might as well jump in and start coloring too, because that's just as important to the final product. So yeah, it's like I've had a lot of not so great coloring on my work throughout the years, and usually it doesn't make the book look better.
Oh man, that's why I like color comics. Like I like color books. Like that's what really that got me into it at first. But now that like we've been working on the 9 volt and we do it in black and white, and I really like that look, that black and white look, especially if you're doing in inks. Like it just has a certain texture, a certain quality, a certain feel to it that it looks good. And I think more books should be in black and white. Although I'm not opposed to color. Like I do eventually want to do a Captain Courage comic in color because it is geared for all ages, but also like it's something kids could really get into. And speaking of Captain Courage, and Judd just to mention this, and I already mentioned this before, but I'll mention it again. The 9 volt holiday book went up on Lulu today. Yes, and I already bought 3 copies. I already ordered 3 copies for myself. And there is a coupon code for 10% off until the 20th, and the Lulu code is self-published 10. But I'm gonna give you guys a secret. There is another code that you can get 15% off. It's welcome 15. Welcome in all caps. So you'll get 15% off. So do that instead. Lulu trying to cheat your customers. Which I like Lulu, that they've actually been doing good work for us. So, and there's a link tree in the description below for Linktree 9 volt comics, and all 3 volumes are on there. So check it out and use the code welcome15 to get 15% off. Buy all 3, and you'll get a pretty decent discount if you don't have like any of them. But if you just want one of them, just buy one. So that's thank you, Judd, for allowing me to do this. Hold on, because I do have this banner up here. Oh, it's in the. There you go. Shameless self plug. So thanks, Judd. and as long as we are promoting ourselves, if you want to get a cool mug like this, there is a link in the description below to Anna's Dream Hatchling Studios. And you can buy this mug and some cool T-shirts. Which I have a T-shirt also from, and this is not it. This is a Scott Circlins. But she's got some cool designs, and we also got a Turaco Creative Cast store, Teespring store, where you can buy a shirt with the Turaco logo on there, and you can also get a Make Comics Not Excuses T-shirt designed by yours truly. And pretty soon we're gonna have more Anna Raub art on there. So check out that store. Check out all the links in the description below. So back to our show.
Okay.
It's funny. I notice this comment. He says inking is the only art form that you can get away with tracing over pencils and get paid doing it.
Yes.
To that, I say I. I know he's kidding around.
I demand for low prices. Oh, yes.
Oh yeah. Oh, Gib is here.
He's
Oh, there
here.
it is. Yeah, and he just put a link to Anna's Teespring store.
Gibran.
Gib. Wait, Gib's a mod? Oh yeah, he is.
I think
Gib's
you
got
made
a wrench.
here.
Yeah. I made him a mod, yeah. All right, so
maybe he's a plumber. He's got a wrench.
Yeah.
yeah. He's ready to go fix some pipes.
All right. So I still have like a tiny little
So
break the fourth wall here.
I guess I should mention.
Sure.
I guess I should talk a little bit about my book. Besides that, I'm creating it. Retro. He's a meta-human. He's stronger than the average person. He's faster than the average person. He heals quicker. He's a master of parkour. And he's the first of 7 heroes I'm creating. And eventually I'll have a book for each of them. And also I'll have a team book after that. And I have a bunch of artists that I'm going to be working with. A couple of them have started the books. And I'm sort of developing everything as I go. So it's highly ambitious, but I part of me just wants to show like Marvel and DC are doing it wrong nowadays. They're constantly changing the teams on the books. They're constantly renaming them and renumbering them and doing all sorts of crap.
Oh yeah. Reboots,
I just wanted a fun story.
Yeah.
Fun stories. Yeah. Fun stories with fun characters, and retro is the beginning of it all.
Cool.
Awesome.
So you have a character named Retro. Do you have one named Vintage? Or is that the knockoff of Retro?
Maybe Vintage is a good villain. Vintage is a good villain name.
Retro, meet your dark partner, Vintage.
That doesn't sound like a bad idea.
Cool. So you've had Retro in the background for a while, though, right? Like that's a character or story you've been wanting to tell for a few years.
Yeah. I mean, technically, I like first started producing this comic back in 2009. I had another artist attached to it. He did a couple of pages, then sort of bowed out because he wanted to get into doing just pinups and stuff, not comics, because comics is hard. But I really actually created the character. It was a name and a costume back when I was a teenager. Me and a friend of mine were taking a walk in the woods and just dreaming up stuff, and he created a hero of his own, and I created Retro, and I went home and drew him up as he looked and colored it. I had like two different colors. I had one where he was red and black, and one where he was green and black. I was like, that looks like Christmas, and I went with red and purple. But yeah, I mean, it's a character. I created the image when I was younger, and sort of just like developed him and his universe throughout the years. Never really writing anything down, but I've kept a good memory log of what I wanted to do with him, and I have like I'm not getting into his origin off the bat. That will be somewhere down the line. But I have that whole story figured out, and I have like really the first batch of issues figured out, like what I want to do and where I want to take him. And as the other characters from the same universe appear, there'll be a lot of interactions and a lot of fun team ups and whatnot.
Wow, that sounds really cool. With Retro or with any of your comics, like what opportunities do you hope for in the future? Like, do you plan on crowdfunding or doing print on demand, or like what are your plans with your future stories or books?
Well, I totally believe in crowdfunding, and actually, I crowdfunded Retro already, like just to get a initial funding, and that was last year, and it's like it's been a journey. Being a freelancer isn't easy. And it's like I should have already had this issue done and out, but whatever, things happen. I've been totally upfront about it. And in fact, that's why on my YouTube channel I'm doing, making comics and art as a series, because I'm solely focused mostly on just working on Retro. So it's stream by stream, I'm keeping people updated on what's happening with Retro. But yeah, it's crowdfunding, and I totally think I'm pretty much going to crowdfund each book as I go.
Oh, wow.
Once I get this issue done and into the hands of the people who've pledged on Kickstarter, I'm going to do an IndieGoGo, a full-fledged IndieGoGo, because the Kickstarter was only 5 days, but I'm going to do a 30-day, maybe even a 60-day, and that will cover costs for like more copies of the book, as well as more working with the other artists on the other books, because I got a whole bunch of books to put out.
Nice. And if you guys aren't already following Peter on his YouTube channel, there's his name there. And you heard here, he's been working on Retro on their live. He does live streams, and so you can watch all the behind the scenes stuff. And that's where like I would watch Peter's stuff regularly, and he has some really good stories too. So check it out. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed.
Thanks.
There.
Yeah, I think that there's quite a
That's
bit
right.
Since he's been documenting his progress and journey on like that on YouTube. But I want to ask how you think, Peter, how do you think that the journey of using YouTube and your past experiences and everything, how it's amounted up to maybe crowdfunding experience?
I was one of the guys back in immediately like the earlier days of me, like when I finally got a computer, like a real computer, and a lot to learn. Like first it was MySpace, and then Facebook, and then everything else. Just interacting with people online and promoting yourself online. You know, a podcasted for a while and loved that. I interview other creators and artists. But yeah, it's like the sort of the wave of creators seem to be moving towards YouTube. So I'm not the most depth guy, like making videos and whatnot, but I get by, and I just love interacting with fans and other creators, and I definitely interview a lot of people on my channel as well, and been a lot of learning, but I get a lot out of it, and it adds to the whole process of working on comics and working on art. And I think we're all benefiting from it, because definitely, it's a way to reach out and meet new people and meet new fans, and tell people about what you're doing, and yeah, all the good things.
Yeah, most definitely. I know for me, like just being able to do this podcast, uh, just meeting new people, new types of people, having different guests on, like different talents, different abilities, different walks of life. Like it's quite an experience. So like, I mean, I enjoy it, and I'm sure Anna also has something similar, to say. I don't know, or maybe not. But Judd has a really good comment here for you, Peter. He says, I am very glad to hear Peter say that he's
Okay.
working from the idea the publishers are doing it wrong. And yes, there's a lot of interference with the publishers. Uh, that's why we get things like Safe Space and
Well,
Snowflake. And,
like having worked for Marvel and DC, and having been up in the offices hundreds of times, I got a lot of behind the scenes look at how things worked, and it's a business, and you got to consider it's a business, and they got to make money. I understand that. Everything's a business when it comes down to it. But like, they put the suits in front of the creative people, and
yeah,
you can't do that if you want to put out quality work. There's got to be a better balance, and for the fans, like, loved back in the day where they can pick up an issue of Spider-Man or Superman, and it would be the next issue, you know,
yeah,
that was out, whether that be 197 or 834, whatever the numbering was. And like, they knew, like, oh, this came out in the 2020s, or whatever. Now it's like, it's completely all over the place, and there's no fun. All the spectators that were buying 100 copies of it are gone.
yeah,
The industry has shrunk a bit, especially with a lot more distractions nowadays. Um, I believe the bottom line is to put out quality books, and and they're, they do put out a lot of quality books, but a lot of it is just like it's all just money grabs, as some people say.
Yeah. And Nefarious asks, "What does my shirt say?" And I think kind of goes with what we're talking about. Haters hate, creators create. So we just want to create. Like, we want to make good stories.
Peter is
We
a
want to
robot.
put stuff out there that people
But yeah,
want to see.
it's like I love what I do, and I've read thousands of comics. Literally thousands of.
Yeah.
Oh, haters create.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is a shirt by Scott Circlin, and you can find links to his stuff in the description below. I think you can also check out his Teespring store, and that's where I
Yeah,
got this shirt.
absolutely.
Yeah, and I think Gib was because I think you were roboting there for a while, so I wasn't sure if it was just on my end or if anyone else heard that. So okay, but it happens. We've been getting a delay today. All right. All right, so. So, well, I think we talked about this because I was going to ask this question, but
I thought he said robot because I'm inking a machine.
Maybe. Oh, Gib can correct us. Gib, is Peter an inking machine, or is his audio?
His audio was doing that
wacky.
earlier.
Yeah. And Neff says that's a great shirt.
Mm-hmm.
It is, Neff. You should get one. Or you know what? Go to Anna's Teespring store and get a cool shirt where it's a dragon and a phoenix.
Yeah.
Or go to our Teespring store for the Turaco Creative Cast and get the Turaco logo on a shirt. So buy shirts is what I'm saying.
Portfolio is.
Yeah.
So, Peter, what's one of the biggest challenges that you faced while going about this career path?
Well, personally, my biggest challenge is a one-man operation, and that's true of a lot of creators. But the business side, even though like I have the head for business, but my creative head takes up more space. So it's like I don't always do the smart business moves that I should be doing, and I walk the tightrope of almost just getting by a lot of times because I don't want to take on more work or work that would be distracting to what I'm trying to do. So I'm, essentially living from gig to gig. I was engaged not too long ago, but I'm single now. I was seeing somebody recently, but that didn't work out. So like the benefit to my situation is I'm not seeing anybody at the moment. But
so ladies, looking.
the downfall to that is that yeah, sexy ladies. But the downfall to that is that I'm I'm like working around the clock, different hours. I have no discipline schedule, and it's like I'm all over the place, and networking and constantly talking with other creators. And it's like there's benefits to that, and not so benefits to that. But yeah, I should be more business minded like Frank and do more t-shirts and coffee mugs and
Yeah. You know what? I
like
think people would
make
like a
more
retro mug.
Careful, Frank. You might get
there
the
you go.
business minded.
Yeah. I think we would like to see retro on the mug. I think that would be pretty cool. Or a retro T-shirt. And I think in my in the links below I have
definitely plan all that.
Cool. And I think in the description below I should have also a Teespring store for Captain Courage. So you can actually might be on the Turaco Creative Cast Teespring also. I think I have a Captain Courage T-shirt on there. So check it out. You can get my character on your chest if you want. And someday we will get a retro T-shirt. Peter just said.
Yeah, T-shirts, mugs, prints.
That would be cool. So what are we just mentioned a couple of so what are your goals for the future? I mean, one of them was probably retro merch. What other goals you got planned or?
Well, yeah, I mean, besides doing more merchandise and trying to I'm trying to build up my YouTube channel so I can get my pennies for throwing commercials on my videos. So it's those little reserves of cash coming in that will help the bigger picture. My big ultimate dream would to be running an actual studio. That might be 10 years down the line, but to have a building that I own and have people working there, not only on my projects, but on their own projects. Because, I'd be encouraging everybody to do their own, create their own projects.
Yeah.
But I love the idea of a working studio. And
that's a really good goal. And sorry, I'm not even to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying that it's a really good idea, and he was saying that it's a really good goal. And I definitely agree, and I like that idea of allowing that artistic freedom and kind of nurturing that environment for each individual to kind of pursue those creative endeavors that might not be directly linked to business-oriented goals at first, at least.
Yeah, and I like the idea of having your own studio. I think that's something I've played with also, having an actual building, having a place where I can work and others can work on their stuff too. Speaking of creators owned, you have a Facebook group called Creator Owned, and you also have a YouTube channel, Creator Owned.
Yeah, I have the Facebook group. I have the YouTube channel. I haven't really done anything special recently, but it is a place for people to and join and see a lot of other similar creators and see what other people are up to, and occasionally people throw up questions there and other people help them out. It's like I try always to be open if anybody asks me a question. And I have it's like I mostly oversee the group, making sure people aren't spamming and there's no like undesirable post happening of violence or sex or whatever the case. I asked pretty early in the making of the group, like what people wanted to see and what people didn't want to see, and sort of created the rules out of that. So it's pretty open, you know. It's like it's completely open for anybody who makes comics to join. But you got to be, you know, there's like specific kinds of posts you can't do. But yeah, it's like I encourage other people not to work on their own projects, but you know, to have a sense of quality about what they do, and like part of the reason I want to do my own comics, I realize it's going to take me a while to get to where I want to go, but I want to produce quality books, and it's not only just about making fancy covers or having pleasant art within the book, but it's also, you know, to me, comics have always been an experience. You know, I remember when I was young, picking up a new comic and be thrilled, and I'd sit with the same book for hours because I would read everything from cover to cover.
Mm-hmm.
Nice, cool, yeah. And I recently started doing that also because as Peter knows, all three of us are in the AAA creators Discord, and there's like a lot of stuff going on there. Like, if you guys want to make comics, like join that group. You're gonna get a lot of encouragement. I mean, I was able. Both Anna and I have stories in the 9-vote Anthology Pulp Edition, and I'm in all three incarnations of that anthology that we have so far. I would have been able to do that with people like Peter, like Marsh, just encouraging us to do our own stories. And I was gonna say something because I got distracted here. What were we talking about?
The AAA.
Talking about yeah.
Oh, comics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We had a thing called the Mini Comics Exchange that I helped initiate. So I got a bunch of little mini comics in the mail, and I just had them here. So the other day I just grabbed them and started like reading through them each one because I'm a bad procrastinator. I mean, I love comics. But it seems like I'll just hold off on reading a book, and so I just grabbed a bunch of mini comics and just like went through them, and like it's a really good stuff. We got really good creators making comics, and one of them is here in the chat. So Sideburns, he does his own comic, Chad Chihuahua, and he also has a story in the pulp edition of the 9-vote. And Gib here is promoting the 9-vote. So yeah, check that out on lulu.com.
Yeah.
Oh, and Abe is here. Another stream regular. I've known Abe for a while, just in the chats. And we got a pre-jazz filmmakers checking out.
We get all our friends showing up in the
chat. Yeah, like this is a good community.
But where's Keith tonight?
Well, Keith, he's probably around. He's probably doing stuff. But thank you for bringing it up, Pete. Keith was a regular host of the I Can't Believe It's Not the Artcast, but Keith decided just to take a break. He'll be on when he feels like it. He's always welcomed. He'll be on when he can. He's here in spirit. But for now, it's just me and Anna running the show, and we try to have really interesting guests and I think we haven't faltered in that. We've always had really good guests, and we got the famous Peter Palmiotti as our guest tonight. So, guys, if you don't know who Peter Palmiotti is, he is the brother of
No.
Jimmy Palmiotti. Now he's got some really some good stuff under his belt. Inked for Marvel with DC, inked Aquaman, the Hook version, uh, Cable, a bunch of other stuff. I was working on Retro. This is just recap for people just coming in and so yeah, we'll get back to our show here. And Anna, do you have any questions for
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's a piece of advice that you might want, if you have something to share, that you would want to share with like aspiring comic creators or people looking to pursue a similar career path to you?
It's I heard somebody saying today that everybody began as an artist, and some people took different paths. Because when we're kids, everybody's drawing. Everybody draws in school and kindergarten and all that. And if you want to pursue comics, then have fun, but take it seriously. I know the mistakes I've made in my career, and I would say take the business side just as seriously. Be disciplined about the art and about the business, and be smart, and don't goof off.
Yeah. Yeah, there's an expression like treat your hobby like a job, or treat like if you're gonna do art, like treat it like a job. I've heard Jeff Lafferty say treat it like a job you like, because there's jobs that we might hate, and so sometimes you want. I mean, I don't want to treat comics like it's a job that I hate. I treat it like a job that I love to show up. I love to go work, but also be professional about it. Like like you were just saying, Peter, like take it seriously. So when you're doing it as an actual job and getting money, you already have that mindset in there that this is your job, but it's a job you love. So
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's like I've had other jobs outside of comics, and regardless if I liked the job or if I hated it, I bust my ass for the job. And I realized that there were times in my comic career where I wasn't giving it 110%, and I'm like, why would I bleed for other people but not not myself?
yeah,
That doesn't make sense. I must bleed for myself.
yeah, that's true. That's good advice.
Yeah,
Believe for yourself. Yeah, Anna, you feel? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Anna. Sorry. Please don't yell at me anymore. I'm sorry. That's good. Yeah, that's good advice. Believe in yourself. I know. For myself, I tend to like encourage others and promote others, but I haven't done that for myself. So I've been working on that. So because hey, I want money too. So buy a T-shirt or a mug from the Turaco Creative Cast. And Gibbs says here, take it seriously. Well, I'm going nowhere then. Okay. And he also says, Peter in the good Aquaman with the hook hand. So yeah.
That's right. The long hair and the beard and everything.
Yeah, the really cool one. Yeah, the that one. That's the one that Jason Momoa is based on, right? Like he played that version. Although I don't think he has a hook hand.
Yeah. Yep. No, he doesn't. Not yet, at least. Hopefully, never. But no. But definitely, the movie was inspired by that run, which is, that was Peter David and Jim Calfury on the art, and he had the armor and different costume, and good run.
Yeah. And speaking of good runs, we are actually at our point. So like, it went by really quick. Oh wow, that's what Anna has been working on.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's an ancient robot giant centipede dinosaur
Sweet.
monster that constructs castles, but it's stuck forever doing it for like thousands of years. Where did that come from?
That's awesome.
It came from your mind, Anna.
Thank you very much for joining us, and thank you for sharing your wisdom and experience, Peter.
Yes. Thank you. Yes, I agree. Thank you, Peter, for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So we'll just go around. This
has been fun.
So, right, guys. So that's been the Turaco Creative Cast with Going Retro with Peter Palmiotti. You can find all his links in the description below. Let me just put them up here on the banner. You can find them on Instagram. And his Linktree is right there. And also YouTube. You can find me at Salazar Art Nation on YouTube, Instagram, and I also have a Linktree with all my stuff. Let me just go grab it. Oh, I actually almost forgot. I have a Ko-fi account. Is it Ko-fi or coffee? I don't know. That's a question for another show. I have a Ko-fi account where if you donate, just drop me some money, and I'll send you some PDF comics. And we do a little exchange. You give me some money, I give you some entertainment. If you just like what I do, just you can just go on to my Ko-fi account and show your support. And speaking of support Anna by subscribing to her if you're not already subscribed. She's got all her stuff in the link tree below. She's got Teespring stores. She's got YouTube channels. She's got Instagrams. So check out all that stuff. And you know what? Keith Harper, show him some love too. If you're not subscribed to him, go subscribe to him. And here's my link tree. You can find all my stuff, all my Teesprings, all my Instagrams, all that cool stuff. Check it out. Thanks again, Pete, for coming out. And guys, thanks for checking out the show. Leave a comment, share, like, do all that cool YouTube stuff so people can watch this video. And that's yes, Neff. In my Teesprings, in my link tree, there is a link to my Ko-fi account, and Gib is putting it up here. Thanks, Gib. And I just realized I just did everyone's outros. So
yeah.
and Raub. Right now, I guess I'm just reading the comments.
Thanks, Gib.
Gib, you're the best.
Gib's
so, Pete, where can we find? I know I mentioned all your stuff. Like, where else can we find you? You're on Discord. A few Discords. Right?
I'm on YouTube where I'm trying. I'm on everybody else's Discord. I gotta eventually build my own. But I'm on YouTube where I'm trying to grow to 1,000 subscribers. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, whatchamacallit, DeviantArt, a bunch of stuff. I'm mostly active on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, mostly. But I also, it's like I have a blog spot. I have whatever. years of being online. I erased my old MySpace account, but but you can become a patron if you look. If you want to support my work, become a patron for $1 or more. That's patreon.com/Peter Palmiotti. Also, if you watch my videos, I have a link, a paypal.me/Peter Palmiotti link. You can go and just, throw me money for coffee or food for my cats or whatever. Everything helps.
All right, that's cool. And before we wrap up, I forgot to mention, Anna and I are doing a challenge so we can get Anna to 100 subs. Anna and I will be eating some bugs on a live stream, and we got something planned lined up. So if you wanna see that, subscribe to Anna, share her YouTube account so people can subscribe to it, and we're gonna close the show with a robot dance. So thanks for coming, guys.